The US government is getting strict about illegal immigration. Because of this, farming in Texas is suffering. Some farmers say their workers are too scared to come to work. In the middle of America, farmers are burning their own crops. Not because of fire or drought, but because they have lost hope. This problem is now being called the Great Farmer Exodus of America. In the past year, more than 50,000 farms were sold or abandoned. Farmers are facing high costs, trade problems, and too much competition. At the same time, Canada's farming industry is growing. Land prices are going up. The government is giving money to farmers. More people are moving to the countryside to farm. Why are US farmers giving up? And why is Canada doing so well? Let's look at what's happening. Number 1, Texas farmers in Texas are burning wheat in the fields. There's no one to harvest it. There are no buyers. There is no storage space. Texas is the biggest farming state in America. It has more than 250,000 farms. But in just 1 year, over 11,000 farms closed or changed to something else. Fertilizer, fuel, and water are now too expensive. Another big problem is labor. 40% of farm workers in Texas are immigrants without legal papers. Since 2020, there have been more immigration raids. Workers are scared. Some farmers say their entire crew disappeared overnight. President Trump later told immigration officers to stop raiding farms. But by then, the damage was done. The worker shortage is also hurting dairy farms. Cows must be milked every few hours. But many farms don't have enough workers to keep up. Using legal workers through the H-2A visa program is very expensive. It can cost more than $20,000 for one season. Small farms cannot afford that. So many farmers are giving up. When farms shut down, the land is sold. Many buyers are big companies or foreign investors, including some from Canada. These buyers don't always keep the land for farming. Some build delivery centers or warehouses instead. Drought is also hurting western Texas. Many wheat farms had major losses. The Rio Grande River has dried up near the Mexico border. The US asked Mexico to return some of the water it owed. Mexico said no and started buying food from Canada instead of Texas. Eastern Texas had too much rain. Heavy rain in May stopped farmers from planting on time. Some seeds were washed away. Tractors couldn't move through the muddy fields. Farming is all about timing. Being late means losing the whole season. By mid-2025, Texas farmers lost over $2.7 billion. That's from crop failures, canceled deals, and high costs. This is what the Texas Farm Bureau says. Meanwhile, Canada gained over $1.2 billion in new farm exports. Countries like Japan, Mexico, and many in Europe are buying from Canada. They used to buy from the US. In Saskatchewan, a province in Canada with good soil, the government is inviting farmers. In May 2025, many people from Texas and California applied. They want a fresh start in Canada. There, they get help, workers, and respect. When farms close in Texas, small towns also suffer. Property taxes go down. This means less money for schools and hospitals. Some towns had to shorten the school year. Others had to delay health services. Older people hoped their grandchildren would grow up and work the land. Now, they feel there is no future. No land. No schools. No clinics. Young people are leaving farming. They don't see a future in it. Many are taking jobs in factories, delivery, or hotels. Farming is no longer a dream. It has become a burden. They're not leaving because they hate it. They're leaving because they can't make a living. While Texas is stepping back, Canada is moving forward. Canada is growing more crops. It's signing new trade deals. It's becoming a top supplier in the world. If Texas, the #1 farming state, is struggling, what will happen to the rest of the country? If no one wants to farm, who will feed America? Number 2, Nebraska. Nebraska used to be a top wheat producer. Its grain was sent to Europe, Asia, and other places. But now, many fields are quiet. It's not because of disasters. It's because farmers are quitting. After a NATO meeting, Spain was told to spend more on defense. This made some European companies worry about doing business with the US. They canceled contracts with US farmers. Instead, they started buying from Canada. This was a big loss for Nebraska. Wheat prices also dropped to around $5 per bushel. That's not enough to cover costs. Even if farmers had a good harvest, they still lost money. Some waited for prices to rise, but they didn't. Banks also changed their rules. Now, they only give loans if farmers already have sales contracts. But most farmers didn't. So, they couldn't get money to plant. In June, a fungus called tar spot spread through 14 counties. It mainly hurts corn and soybeans, but it caused problems for all crops. Farmers had to spend more on chemicals. They had to change their planting plans. Again, costs went up. All these problems came at the same time. Low prices. No loans. High costs. Farmers had no way out. Some didn't make any announcements. They just stopped farming. They didn't fix their machines. They didn't buy seeds. They simply gave up. While Nebraska is struggling, Canada is growing stronger. In the first half of 2025, Canada exported over 6.6 million tons of wheat. That's 20% more than last year. Deals that used to go to US farmers now go to Canada. Canada is also improving its system. It's upgrading ports, trains, and farm groups. The government is helping to keep prices stable. Canada is not just staying in the market. It's taking over what the US is losing. In Nebraska, the loss of farms is hurting whole towns. With fewer farms, there are fewer taxes. With fewer taxes, schools, hospitals, and fire stations suffer. Many farmers in Nebraska are now working part-time or changing jobs. Things that used to feel normal like steady farming are now unstable. This brings a quiet fear. You can see this fear in empty farmers' markets, quiet meetings, and people not sure about the next season. They haven't given up completely, but they're no longer confident. One thing is very clear. America's role in global wheat farming is shrinking. Nebraska used to be an important part of the world's wheat supply. Now, many big contracts don't even mention Nebraska. Even food factories in the US are using wheat from Canada instead. That's because Canada offers stable prices and better delivery. For Nebraska farmers, the hardest thing is not losing money. It's feeling left behind while other countries move forward. Other places have signed big contracts, built strong trade systems, and improved their ports. Nebraska is still trying to decide if they should plant crops or not. But while they wait, their share in the market is disappearing quietly and quickly. And it's not just Nebraska anymore. Other states in the grain belt are feeling it too. Kansas is seeing its first drop in production after many years. North Dakota is having trouble selling to China. Iowa, known for soybeans, now has too much supply and not enough buyers. Nebraska's story is no longer just about Nebraska. It shows what could happen to the rest of the US farm industry. An industry that once made America strong is now slowing down. And the world isn't waiting. Number 3, Arizona. Arizona used to be full of opportunity. Retirees moved there, and immigrants came to work on farms. Farms in Yuma, Maricopa, and other areas grew lettuce, tomatoes, eggs, and fruits. This created many seasonal jobs. Arizona had mild winters, cheap living costs, and was close to the border. It became a top place for workers both American and undocumented. But by mid-2025, something strange happened. Arizona now has the highest number of abandoned farms in the US. Why would a place with land, sunshine, and skilled workers fall behind? It started earlier in the year. Immigration officers, ICE, increased surprise raids on farms. This happened during the busy winter vegetable season. Suddenly, many workers disappeared. Farms couldn't pick crops. They couldn't pack or deliver. Many farmers had to cancel their orders. Some gave up in the middle of the season. Even workers with legal documents got scared. No one felt safe working anymore. That's not all. Arizona also faced a big water problem. Since late 2024, counties like Pinal and Cochise had strict water limits. By mid-2025, many farms were banned from digging new wells. Water from the Colorado River was being redirected. Even with good seeds and tools, farmers couldn't grow crops without water. Without workers and water, even big farms had to shut down. In Yuma, vegetable sorting centers stopped. Refrigerated trucks no longer picked up food. Farmers' markets became empty. Arizona also lost federal support. In early 2025, farm aid money was paused because of government budget issues. At the same time, a new rule forced egg farms to vaccinate chickens against bird flu. One major farm had to kill over 6 million chickens. The owner complained that the government gave no help or advice. Arizona lost three key things at the same time: workers, water, and government support. In places that depend on seasonal farming, this kind of collapse affects everyone. Warehouses lose customers. Farm supply stores close. Child care centers shut down. Adults have to leave work to care for kids. The people who once came to Arizona for jobs are now leaving. Some went to California to work in fruit packing. Others left farming and started driving delivery, washing cars, or moving to big cities. A growing number are applying to move to Canada. Yes, Canada. A country once known for cold weather and low pay. But now Canada is welcoming skilled farm workers. Programs like the Agri Food Pilot and SINP are looking for people with farm experience. They want people who know how to work in greenhouses, egg farms, and gardens. These are the same skills that Arizona's workers have. It's ironic. Americans are now leaving America to keep farming. Why? Because Canada offers help, crop insurance, and an easier immigration system. Not everyone qualifies to move, but the fact that so many are trying is a warning. For decades, farmers believed the U.S. was the best place to farm. Now, they're watching workers leave. They feel more than just loss, they feel something deeper. Many older Americans once watched immigrants arrive in Arizona. They saw new houses, busy farms, and were unsure at first. But over time, they accepted it. Now, those same workers are leaving. And with them, they are taking their skills and their hope. What's left behind isn't just empty land. It's a deep emptiness in the community. And it's not just Arizona. From California to Iowa, from Texas to Nebraska, American farming is breaking apart. And more states may be added to the list soon. Number 4, California. Just 1 year ago, no one would believe this could happen. Canada, a country with snow for half the year, was not known for fruit. But by summer 2025, Canadian provinces like British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan are growing more fruit. They are even exporting it to the US, a market once led by California. Farmers in British Columbia are growing 30% more cherries, apples, and peaches than last year. Saskatchewan is using greenhouses to grow fruit all year. The Canadian government is helping with electricity, crop insurance, and farming support. This means Canadian farmers can grow and sell without lowering prices too much. Meanwhile, California's Central Valley, which once produced 25% of America's fruit, is in trouble. Farmers are asking, how do we grow crops when we don't make money? According to the California Farm Bureau, electricity costs have gone up 150% since 2023. This makes it too expensive to pump water to grape, peach, and orange farms. Many farmers had to stop watering their crops halfway through the season. At the same time, water laws banned hundreds of farms from digging new wells. Surface water is also running out. To make things worse, new rules on methane emissions are being introduced. In California, farmers are facing more problems. Dust and noise from farms near homes are leading to new rules. Farmers now have to write long environmental reports. Some even have to grow fewer crops to follow pollution limits. At the same time, farm property taxes are going up. This puts more pressure on farmers who are already losing money. By June 2025, nearly half of the medium-sized fruit farms in Central Valley are not making enough money to survive. Some farmers are trying new ideas, like opening their farms for tours and fruit picking. But the money from these activities is very small. Plus, they still need to pay for insurance, workers, and keeping the land clean. Another problem is cheap fruit from other countries. Mexican avocados are selling for less than it costs to grow them in California. In Ventura, local farmers can't compete. Peaches that used to be sold to Asia are now sold for low prices in the US or not picked at all. Even longtime Californians now walk into supermarkets and buy kiwis from Chile or apples from New Zealand. Why? Because they're cheaper than local fruit. Central Valley is falling behind not just in global trade, but in hope. Young people don't want to farm anymore. Many children of farmers are now working in tech, delivery, or services. It's not that they don't care about tradition. They just can't survive in farming anymore. In contrast, Canada is welcoming farm workers. You don't need to be born there, just have the right skills. Provinces are giving land, helping with farming cooperatives, and keeping prices steady. For the older generation in California, this change is painful. They remember when the orange harvest brought life and joy. Now, it's mostly quiet. They no longer ask, what should we plant next season? They ask, is there anyone left to plant at all? When fruit becomes something only rich people can buy, the biggest worry isn't the price. It's how many other regions might follow the same path. Old farms are becoming tourist spots. And real harvests are becoming just memories. Now let's look at the last state on this list, Iowa. Iowa has long been the heart of American farming. Fields of corn, rows of silos, and tractors passed down through generations. This was once called the food heart of America. But by mid-2025, that heart is weaker. There was no disaster, no big storm, just a quiet crisis. Iowa was the top corn exporting state. From 2005 to 2015, it grew 16% of America's corn and soybeans. But in the past 18 months, over 7,800 farms have closed. That's about 1 in 6 of all U.S. farms lost in this recent wave. People didn't quit because of no land. They quit because they lost faith. It didn't happen all at once. Small problems kept piling up. In early 2025, the state only had 4 to 5 days each month with good weather for farming. Rain ruined planting schedules. Then a fungus called tar spot spread across many counties. It hurt corn crops badly. These weren't deadly disasters, but they tested farmers' patience. Costs kept rising, but income didn't. In 2025, Iowa had one of the highest numbers of farm bankruptcies in the country. Banks are now stricter with loans. Not because farmers aren't trying, but because they aren't making money. Fertilizer is still 30% more expensive than it was in 2023. Corn and soybean prices are low, controlled by big companies like ADM and Cargill. These companies buy cheap and control exports. Iowa's farm economy lost over $2.7 billion between early 2024 and mid-2025. Most of the losses came from small and medium farms, the heart of Iowa's farm life. Meanwhile, Canada is rising. Saskatchewan earned $1.6 billion from grain exports in the second quarter of 2025, a 34% increase from last year. But money wasn't the only reason farmers gave up. They felt stuck. 85% of Iowa farms are family-run. Losing them means losing identity. Immigration policies also caused problems. ICE patrols scared off seasonal workers, even those with legal papers. Now, farms are short on labor. Harvests are delayed, and crops lose value. But the worst damage is emotional. Farming used to be about pride, tradition, and faith. Now, it feels like a mental burden. The CDC says farmers face high levels of stress, especially since the pandemic and price crashes. Still, some communities in Iowa are fighting back. In Story County, small groups are offering free mental health counseling. They also run career workshops for young people who want to stay on the land. In the south of the state, new group farming models are being tested. Families share land and tools to reduce risk. These ideas don't fix everything, but they bring hope. In May 2025, the federal government announced help for family farms, cheaper loans, interest help, and support for eco-friendly farming. But many say this help came too late. Some had already sold equipment, mortgaged land, or quit before the aid arrived. The real problem isn't money. It's that people no longer trust the system that once promised to protect them. And while Iowa struggles, Canada grows stronger. Provinces like Saskatchewan and Manitoba are expanding wheat and soybean exports, crops Iowa used to lead in. Canada offers crop insurance, equipment funds, and rural settlement plans. These are pulling in both immigrant workers and American farmers. It's not a mass migration, but it's a real shift. Iowa, once on top, is being left behind. Walk into a small diner near Des Moines, and you'll see empty seats. Not because people don't want to eat, but because the farmers who used to sit there are now trying other jobs. No more talk of planting seasons. Just silence. And that silence is what scares farmers most. But Iowa still has hope. New policies, community farming, and youth programs might help keep the soul of farming alive. This decline shouldn't make us feel hopeless. It should remind us, no system, no matter how strong, can survive if its people lose faith. Iowa once showed the world how to farm with care. Now maybe it's time for the world to help Iowa hold on. 50,000 farmers leaving the field, it's not just a number. Behind it are families, memories, and a generation that once believed farming was a calling. Now, they are leaving because they have to choose between survival and pride. Meanwhile, Canada is welcoming them. With open arms, strong support, and big trade deals. They are celebrating record harvests. What do you think about this change? Share your thoughts below. This video is not meant to divide America or promote any political message. It's here to inform, reflect, and encourage discussion about real issues that affect us all. We respect the U.S. Constitution and all federal laws.